Right after Cook County District Attorney Kim Foxx was done watching the infamous Surviving R. Kelly documentary on Lifetime that she only pretends not to be a part of, while on a TV show with Windy City Live, she made it clear there was going to be investigations carried out motivated by the same TV series, and she also gives her own opinion suggesting whatever R. Kelly is said to have done was disheartening. Meaning she already knew what was in plan and how every part of the evil plot to take down the R&B king was going to unfold.
Now, you have seen the docuseries.
I have.
And what are your initial thoughts?
You know, I watched the series as someone who has lived in Chicago my whole adult life, worked at the state's attorney's office during the original trial, so it wasn't that some of the allegations were new related to pre-2008, but watching and listening to the women who said that they were survivors of what happened, it was heartbreaking, it was sickening. I think, again, he had his day in court, he was acquitted, and we saw what happened with that. I think the disheartening part of the docuseries was post-2008.
She basically agreed to the long-awaited truth that the purpose of the documentary was to justify anew investigations and pretend like the 2008 trial was null and void. And indeed, when asked about his acquittal in 2008, and to explain how she was planning to indict R. Kelly for cases from decades ago against the statute of limitations, a statute that suggests there are indeed time limits within which a case must be reported, or else it's phased out as insignificant, she stammered as she reflected on what happened in 2008 as though to suggest the DOJ was at fault, and also put out a defense suggesting most of their focus was going to be on what happened after 2008, which later turned out to be a lie. Events such as that described by a one Rashonda Landfair was brought back contrary to Kim Foxx's statement, and we think it's because they realized that whatever allegations that were brought dated after 2008 were not substantial to support an indictment. In fact, in order to support post-2008 allegations, the district attorney and her New York and Minnesota counterparts entered into a consensus to work closely with the two sets of parents, Tim Savage and Angelo Clary, of course among other alleged victims who had been engaged in acts of criminal nature and that had participated in the Surviving R. Kelly documentary as government allies desperate for immunities. The government used them to lie against R. Kelly as a way to build a case against him. Afraid that they would equally be indicted and in exchange for immunity deals, these individuals had no choice but to cooperate. With the assistance of the Bureau of Prison officers who did a good job tapping into R. Kelly's phone call and email records and sharing the data with blogger Tasha K, who later on relayed the same to the Clary family, they managed to initiate their daughter Azriel, who at that time was still for R. Kelly, into criminality, and right after stealing R. Kelly's money, she was never returning to his camp, for she now needed him behind bars more than ever before. Azriel Clary had officially become yet another pawn for government to use against R. Kelly, and she did them a good job making things a little harder for R. Kelly when she gave the masses even more media rounds of the defaming anti-Kelly campaign. Azriel did an interview with The Sun and later on with Gayle King trying to criminalize R. Kelly yet again. What Kim Foxx forgot was that dealing with these street-smart parents and their children was not a very sustainable move on her end, and indeed, she gambled her job, which she now has to lose by not returning to the polls next elections. I guess this is the cost when you decide to team up with the kings of blackmail and extortion that are mostly guided by their love for money to a point of pimping their own daughters to men they think will support them financially. Such people are always unstable, as they will run to where the money is and forget what they were assigned to do. Their job in this case was to defame R. Kelly, have their daughters testify against him and remain quiet awaiting restitutions. What they forgot was that only one family was to gain, considering the Savage daughter turned out to have been 18 when she met with R. Kelly and therefore had no case from the beginning. Another thing Kim Foxx forgot was that once the real reason Azriel flipped went public, which was bound to happen, and the Savages got to know that there was money involved, they would not be happy that the bag of money from R. Kelly's apartment was also taken by the Clarys. The imbalance when it came to financial benefits that saw the Clarys take it all while all the Savages are left with is a missing daughter, and no single penny could not leave the two families the same, and the only way for them to vent was by going to the media and spilling all the secrets that would eventually expose what kind of deals Kim Foxx has been involved in. This is information that simply can't allow Kim Foxx to run for another term, for no one will be voting her back to office and she knows it. It's way too much dirty linen that she cannot clean up successfully in a single campaign, and guess what? her indecent association with these two families has cost her her job. Kim Foxx is not coming back. In a way I do sympathize with Tim Savage. Putting myself in his shoes, I would probably spill all the government's secrets and make sure the Clarys also walk out with nothing. While the Clary daughter is to walk away with over $250,000 in restitutions for flipping at the last minute and choosing to lie on behalf of the government, and also walking away with the hundreds of thousands dollars are Kelly's money, which according to the information we have Joycelyn was supposed to keep safely away from Azriel Clary in a failed plan that saw the Clarys get to the money before the Savages. Why wouldn't I spill the beans and we both lose? For God's sake, when it comes to who did the most in crippling R. Kelly and causing his music to get shut down, it's Tim Savage. He led all the mudslinging campaigns against the R&B king and single-handedly mobilized the R. Kelly takedown, but somehow the Clary family gets to keep all the monetary spoils, leaving the Savages empty-handed, and with a missing daughter who no longer wants to return home because they embarrassed her. The way all these events have unfolded is proof R. Kelly is indeed the anointed of God. Almost everyone who has touched him has lost something. First we saw Michael Avenatti go to prison for multiple fraud charges, then the fake publicist that called himself a crisis manager quickly become a wanted man also for fraud. We saw the likes of Sparkle and Andrea Kelly become prime suspects from the testimonies that were made in court. Then Lisa Van Allen together with Geronda Pace dragged to court and forced to testify in exchange for their freedom. We heard of a Bureau of Prisons officer forced to take an early retirement for leaking R. Kelly's prison data outside her jurisdiction, and now we see Kim Foxx forced into an early surrender to her political opponents, not forgetting how her attack on R. Kelly caused her dirty linen to do with her own domestic violence gain a global audience. I almost forgot the prosecutor Angel Cruel, who went into hiding after it was revealed that she was texting alleged victims in an informal manner and commenting on their bodily looks, and how she decided to engage in illegal evidence gathering from journalist Jim DeRogatis. She too can no longer live freely, for we have been looking to get her picture and show the world who she is, something she doesn't want to happen. Jim DeRogatis should await his turn to face the press like the rest. We have also seen artists who have spoken against R. Kelly get their own share of problems, like what happened to Snoop Dogg, who is definitely in queue for the Me Too movement to pounce on, unless he prefers to be turned into an ATM cashing out to keep the mouths shut. From our audience we have also learned that Chance the Rapper no longer features on the chats from the moment he spoke against R. Kelly. Certainly no one touches the anointed of God and remains the same. According to Tennessee Dennis, all I have to say throughout this horrible ordeal R. Kelly is dealing with is that God has the last word, and no matter what these people do to him, God is watching and he will be stepping in whenever he's ready. Not before or after, but whenever he's ready. Trust God and live, my brother. R. Kelly forever the king of R&B. Thank you for watching today's video, a production of LFN Media, giving you another perspective of issues at hand. We make it our business to keep you updated with the truth amidst the cloud of lies the media wants you to believe. It is therefore important to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon and allow all notifications so that you don't miss out whenever we publish a new video.